Have you ever felt a barrier between yourself and the world, like a thin veil separating you from everyone else? You notice contradictions hidden beneath polished words, conventions repeated as absolute truths, and ideas no one dares to question. That strange mix of clarity and loneliness, where understanding the world brings the agony of seeing through its illusions, can feel like a curse. The more you grasp, the more you realize you're adrift in a sea of unquestioned beliefs and comfortable deceptions. When Immanuel Kant challenged humanity to dare to know, to summon the courage to use one's own understanding, he unknowingly condemned the freethinker to risk everything. You put your peace, relationships, and sense of belonging on the altar of truth. It's not about parroting catchy phrases or adopting bold opinions for appearance's sake. It's the solitary, brutal act of digging until you question the foundations of morality, religion, politics, and the meaning of life. Kant described most people as living in an intellectual minority, trapped by their fear of thought. It's far easier to let someone else decide what is right or wrong, true or false. Yet this collective blindness breeds resentment. The freethinker becomes a walking scandal simply by existing. You expose the fragility of shared certainties and, by doing so, remind others of their cowardice. Perhaps you've felt that sudden chill in a conversation when everyone around you seems to nod in agreement with shallow ideas. You learn to bite your tongue because voicing the truth risks friendships, family ties, even your place in society. Or maybe you're exhausted from pretending everything feels okay. That gnawing anguish isn't madness, it's clarity. It is the painful awareness of how few dare to see what you see. In this first part of our exploration, we'll delve into the tragedy of intellectual freedom, the price of thinking deeply in a world that punishes, ridicules, and isolates those who dare to use their own reason. We'll trace Kant's call to courage, examine how social norms train us to obey rather than question, and confront the isolation that follows genuine insight. From childhood, we absorb ready-made formulas: what to desire, whom to admire, what success means. When we dare to ask why, society answers with silence or scorn. Questioning becomes an act of rebellion, and rebels are swiftly branded as troublemakers. To think for oneself is to accept the burden of one's own moral responsibility, and most flee from that burden. Look around. How many people do you know who, despite their intelligence, repeat talking points they first heard online, in videos or books? How many stay silent because they fear conflict, rejection, or the loss of social standing? Intellectual minority isn't stupidity. It's fear. Fear of the loneliness that freedom brings. For Kant, the few who dare to think independently could ignite a spark in the darkness and inspire others to follow. Yet there's an even darker force at work: resentment. Not mere laziness, but raw hatred directed at those who shatter comforting illusions. Friederich Nietzsche, with surgical precision, saw resentful hostility for what it is: a reflex of the herd protecting its fragile morality. When you point out that shared beliefs might be nothing more than human constructs, you threaten the very foundation of collective comfort. If you find this helpful, and this is resonating with you, don't forget to click the subscribe button so you won't miss new videos, coming every other day. Your support truly means a lot. Thank you. The herd reacts by silencing, ridiculing, or excluding the freethinker, treating them as an enemy of order. Have you ever noticed jokes at your expense when you challenge the dominant narrative, or exclusion disguised as harmless banter? These are defenses erected to preserve illusions. Even if you try to conform, Mundane conversations, advertising slogans, and casual remarks ring hollow in your mind. You see the cracks everywhere, and you can't unsee them. This is the psychic exile of the freethinker, among people yet feeling utterly alone, starved for a conversation that ventures beyond cliches. It's not about physical solitude, but the absence of an intellectual echo. But here lies a paradox. This very loneliness can be the crucible of creativity. In the silence where ignorance once reigned, powerful ideas take shape. It is in no man's land that the seeds of new values, perspectives, and truths germinate. In the next part, we will continue this journey, exploring how the loneliest of thinkers can transform exile into empowerment, becoming the author of their own morality and forging a path to authentic freedom. Have you ever paused to consider the true stakes of thinking for yourself? It goes far beyond holding different opinions or sparring over surface-level ideas. Kant taught us that genuine freedom means living by principles our own reason declares valid for everyone. His categorical imperative, act only on maxims you could will into universal law, forces us to become legislators of morality rather than passive followers of tradition or dogma. It's a staggering task. We must ground our values in autonomous thought, without leaning on inherited customs or sacred texts. Nietzsche asked an even more daring question. What if there are no absolute foundations at all? If morals are inventions designed to maintain order, protect the weak and stave off chaos, then the bedrock of life crumbles into shifting interpretations and power struggles. Yet this awareness does not invite permissiveness. On the contrary, it demands total responsibility. In a universe without divine guarantees, each individual stands before a yawning void and must forge new values from scratch. This is the tightrope walk of the free spirit, every choice carried out on the edge of nothingness, requiring the strength to live without safety nets. Living between destruction and creation, the freethinker experiences both exhilaration and despair. Some mornings, the weight of meaninglessness can feel crushing, as if every cherished ritual and cliché dissolves before your eyes. In those moments of emptiness, however, an inner spark often ignites, a drive to craft unique ideals and breathe life into fresh possibilities. That oscillation, bottomless dread followed by creative surge, is precisely where Kantian discipline and Nietzschean artistry converge. Both philosophies demand the courage to stand alone and author one's own moral universe. But the path of originality exacts a heavy toll. The more you shape new beliefs, the more you distance yourself from the comforting narratives of the herd. A community built on shared illusions views dissent as a threat. Conversations turn cold, smiles grow forced, and subtle exclusion becomes routine. Sometimes resistance erupts into open hostility, snide remarks, whispered gossip, even outright defamation. Nietzsche observed that the herd doesn't merely want obedience, it wants genuine belief. If its fragile certainties waver, the freethinker must be silenced to preserve unity. This isolation isn't simply physical solitude, but a deeper psychic exile. Imagine being in a crowded room where everyone clings to ready-made answers, while you alone see the cracks behind every slogan. Each exchange feels rehearsed, each consensus lifeless. Even the gentlest comment reverberates as a reminder of the house of cards supporting collective comfort. At that point, you exist in a parallel reality, among people, yet fundamentally alone. Yet solitude also becomes the crucible of creation. In this no man's land, raw ideas coalesce into fresh values and perspectives. The freethinker learns to draw strength from silence, transforming loneliness into the forge of authenticity. Each self-made principle, each novel maxim, stands as proof that human creativity can conquer the void. Kant insisted that autonomy underpins human dignity. To act on one's own reason is to claim moral sovereignty. Nietzsche revealed the exhilarating risk and sublime reward of becoming a free spirit. Together, their insights chart a path from intellectual dependence to self-authorship. Yes, this journey may cost friendships, comfortable identities, and social standing, but it also grants an irreplaceable treasure, the dignity of living by convictions you have chosen and created. If you resonate with this struggle, know you are not alone. Scattered across the globe are others who refuse the anesthetic of conventional beliefs. Every person who dares to think freely becomes a spark in the darkness of groupthink. That solitary flame, however small, can guide others to question, to awaken, and to forge their own inner fires. Pause now and ask yourself, what challenges you most about this path of intellectual freedom? Is it the sheer weight of responsibility in inventing your own values, or the fear of standing apart from those you care about? Share your thoughts below and let's continue this exploration together. And with that being said, I will see you in the next one.